What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Jaguars Fan Battle Podcast, a member of the Fan Battle Sports Network. We appreciate everybody joining us. If it's been, since last season that you've joined us, we have changed from the Jaguar. And if you'd seen the intro beforehand, it did say the Jaguar. We have actually rebranded for this season as the Jaguars Fan Battle, just to kind of be same across the board for everyone that's in the Fan Battle Network. Just so people are aware, that'll probably be the last time you see that awesome clip, and hopefully we'll have an updated one next week for everyone. But yeah, we are Jaguars Fan Battle. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew G, joined by Cody Cold. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody?
And we have our special guest, Laurie Fitzpatrick. What's going on,
Hey,
Laurie?
what's going on, guys? I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. And just a little background, and of course, you can let me know how wrong I am. But
You're
um,
wrong. I'm just kidding.
well, I'm not. I'm surprised it took that long. No, so Fitz has a little bit of sports background herself. She used to play in the WFA and IWFL, if I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
But since leaving the Gridiron, she has written previously for, I believe it was USA Today,
hmm
a little bit at the Fan Buzz, but right now primarily at Read Optional. And there she writes about um, the NFL, but I think it is primarily the Jaguars, or is it anything?
It's anything, but I'm just like trying to dive a little bit deeper. They're like long pieces with a lot of film clips, just diving into like all 22. So they takes me like a week and a half to write one piece for them just because we dive a lot deeper with the read optional. So if anybody subscribes to them, you're also getting, subscription to a ton of other writers that, some guys have been, writing for a while, and they dive a lot deeper too. So it's just a really cool site, especially for film buffs.
And that's the Read Optional.
Yeah, they read optional. Yep.
Okay, cool. Is it kind of like some of the stuff that you do on YouTube?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll put out some like film sessions. Basically, I just get a lot of clips, and I'll just have like a voiceover, and we just kind of like go through the film sessions together, and I try to respond to every single comment that comes in. Maybe I'm gonna start doing them live. Actually, maybe I'll start doing that for the Jaguars all 22 because I get it like within 24 hours, like after the game. So that should be exciting. Maybe I'll do that.
So the video. So for those that don't know, is this like video from like CBS or Fox, or is this like game
No, it's
tape
like
that like,
yeah,
you click?
it's a coach's film, so it's like the all 22 view, so you can see all 22 players on the field. So it's zoomed out so you can see what the cornerbacks are doing. Because usually on the live broadcast, you can't really see when Trey Herndon gets burned, right? But on
Right.
the all 22, I'll be able to show you that. So yeah, so
does
yeah,
that
we have
have
that.
does that happen quite a bit?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of him. Like, he's a great, backup and fill in, but him
Mhm.
being a starter, like, I don't like it at all. Like, he gets beat
Right.
like a
I
lot.
mean, I mean, there was a lot of people like in the draft, or whatever, hoping that we would take a nickel, and then we picked up Antonio Johnson. And people were like, maybe he could slide down, and then Gregory Jr.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
he's been
Yeah.
doing pretty well.
yeah, in the preseason, whatever, they were hoping that maybe he could compete for that spot as well. But then Trey Herndon's the starter week 1 against the Colts, so it's like,
Yeah, like he's a great practice squad player. He does great every single
Mhm.
time, like in the training camp. And then every single coach that comes in, they make him the starter. Then he gets burned, and they switch
Yeah.
it up. Like it happens every single year.
right,
Like it's just he's a great practice player. I'm hoping Antonio Johnson can fill in there.
Mhm.
But when we look at like Darius Williams, he was there first, and then he did a lot better on the outside. So it's like who are they going to put there? So
right.
I'm
Right.
kind of excited to see how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I remember in the preseason when we were going into training camp and we were looking at all the spots that may have potentially been up for grabs. Herndon's honestly, out of all the starting positions, his was probably the only one that was really in question out of all the spots. I mean, outside of the injury spots, right, along the offensive line and whatnot. But as far as like your concrete starters, Herndon was probably the only one that had any chance of losing it,
Yeah.
which I don't think he did.
Yeah,
But
exactly. But it's like, they'll look at him and be like, okay, well, this spot's open. And then, like, well, we can't take him out of it if he's not like losing it.
yeah.
So we're just going to have to wait for the regular season.
Yeah. Well, that's a little bit about Fitz. Is there anything else you want to share with the class?
No. Just, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Law Fitz Sports, I think it's called. So yeah, we'll just be diving into film this year. So
Cool. And we'll share all that at the end of the show so everyone can write it down on their handy dandy notebooks and go subscribe. But so today with our special guest Fitz, myself and Cody, today we're going to go over the upcoming games. So this will be the first show of the year. Super exciting, where we get to actually talk about a real game that matters, that at the end of the day will hopefully not break our hearts. And that is against the Colts in Indianapolis. So, Cody, what are your thoughts coming into the game?
I mean, minus JT, and then they got a linebacker out, and then they're starting like a rookie cornerback. It's like it doesn't seem fair at this point. and starting Anthony Richardson and whatever, which like a lot of Colts fans seem to be high up on, but Florida Gator fans that I know aren't personally high up on. So it's like I believe he's a project type of quarterback, and they're going to have some hiccups along the way, probably all the way through the season. I mean, maybe he turns it around mid late season, and that's given high praise. But so I in me personally, I don't have faith that they're going to have it. The Colts are going to have it all together week one. So it just seems like a super easy win for the Jags for me. And I don't have any sort of like, fear of like it being a close one either. So it's like, especially with them working out James Robinson. So they know that there's going to be that gap. So it's like they're trying to fill it any way possible, whatever. And it's weird to me. Like, I don't know what keeps happening to him. But he was, great here with the Jags. Obviously he had that Achilles injury and then went to the Giants. But then preseason just, looked like he was dominating a couple of snaps there, or whatever, dragging 5 people across the line. So for him to not get a, at least a second string there with the Giants and coming down to the Colts to work out with them, I'm just wondering, like, is there something else going on with him? So that was like the only real question I had week one, and it wasn't because of like, the Colts like having anything to do with how the season was going to play out. It was just a question of me being a previous fan of James Robinson himself. So yeah, that's about it. that's all my thoughts are.
I like it. What about you, Fitz?
I'm not sure what's going on with James Robinson either. I mean, he obviously he hurt his Achilles, but he could never like break away from any like defenders ever. He could always hit the hole really well, but he just couldn't outrun anybody. So I think that's like one of his biggest issues. But like if you like need 4 yards, you put him in and he can get you 4 yards. So I'm definitely surprised as well that he couldn't at least get like a third string something, like put him on a practice squad. Like he deserves that at least. Like he did a lot. He's an undrafted free agent and he like killed it for the Jags, as long as he could. So that's definitely surprising to me as well. Maybe there is something out there that we do not know, because that's crazy. I'm always going to be rooting for him, honestly. Love that dude.
Me too. Yeah, even if it's with the Colts, just don't run against us like that.
Yeah, no. And they have some, who'd they get? Evan Hull, I think, as their running back. So, he's not bad, but they could use him, just that whole Jonathan Taylor situation. I was happy that Irsay decided to tweet that about Jonathan Taylor, like, I'll be dead, and Jonathan Taylor, he'll be out of the league, and we'll all move on. And it's just like, why are you saying death and Jonathan Taylor in the same sentence? Like,
Yeah,
what are
Irsay
you
is
thinking?
strange.
I was just like, yes, that's the worst thing that could have happened, because the AFC South is just filled with like brawlers, like ball carriers, man. Like Damian Pierce on the Texans, and you got Jonathan
Mhm.
Taylor, and then it's the Titans, obviously, Derrick Henry, and then
Yeah.
they got what's his name, Tyjae Spears. He's like one of my favorite running backs, and I was really disappointed when the Titans got him. He's a beast, like he's crazy. He'll break your ankles, and it's just like, damn, like they can't get away from anybody. But yeah, that's happening with Jonathan Taylor, and I mean, he'll probably play though. So
Yeah. It's an interesting week, and I feel like this week for the Colts as a team is it's a very small picture of how all their seasons have been going as of late. They have a good roster initially, but typically it's the injury bug that kind of steps in, that and a 50-year-old quarterback, but the injury bug has really, I think, hurt the Colts teams in the past few seasons. And with this game, this upcoming week, I mean, today, let's see, it was who did they? Oh, Shaq Leonard. He's in the concussion
Yeah,
protocol.
yeah,
You got
that's what I was talking about.
Zach Moss, who they traded for, right? Or I don't know if they traded or if they just signed him. I think they traded for him, right? He's a good running back, but that he's still he's listed as questionable. I don't think he'll be playing. So their depth has taken a major hit, obviously with Jonathan Taylor being the biggest hit. So, from my thoughts going to the game, I think it's very important with all of those players being out or questionable. The Jaguars have zero reason not to pounce on them and at least win by 2 scores. I think it's important because we're going to the season with high expectations across NFL, even some individuals picking us as Super Bowl winners, others picking us just going very far. I know a lot of people say that they're not big fans of being given the praise that they feel like they deserve. A lot of people think it's better to be the underdog, but I was listening to another player talk about that today, and he says, coaches like it both ways. If you take it the right way and people are giving you the praise that you deserve, that means there's more accountability on you each and every day. And so that accountability starts this week against a Colts team who is not very good. And yes, it is a divisional foe, so any given Sunday for sure is going to happen this Sunday. But there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't go in, score a lot of points, get ahead, give the defense some confidence going in with leads when they take the field, and hopefully win by at least two scores. That's my quick thoughts on that. I don't know, you guys.
2 scores?
It could be 10 points, right? That's 2 scores.
Yeah, I just feel like it's gonna be way more than that, dude.
definitely.
Well, it's the NFL, though. I mean, everyone's a professional, even down to the third, fourth, right? But hopefully win by 50.
Yeah.
I feel you. I
Let's
mean,
see.
I don't know if you guys looked at their roster. If you go, I go on ourlads.com, right? So Our Lads pretty much gives you the depth chart. And, you have the first row, which are the starters, the second row, which is the backups. That's all they have. I don't even know how they have a 53-man roster, because there's nobody on this depth chart whatsoever. I mean, they have a ton of players in reserves, aka IR, like you were mentioning, but like they don't have anybody. After Michael Pittman, there's nobody else. After Alec Pierce, there's no other receivers. I don't know if you guys see this. It's like wild. There's nothing. I don't even understand, like, if Michael Pittman has to sit out, like, who the heck is going to go in? There's nobody there. It's like crazy. I guess they're definitely going to be playing a lot of
They're gonna
rookies.
itty meeny miny mo in the stands, dude.
Yeah, honestly, they should actually host open tryouts. They
Yeah.
might have a better chance this week. Oof, it's not looking good. I don't know. I think they definitely win by like 14. But I think it's up to. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's up to this one thing in order for them to win, because I think they're definitely going to. But what I'm interested in seeing the most is the defensive line. I think
sure.
the pass rush in particular is just looking so. It's grim in my opinion. So I'm hoping, well, I think we're all hoping that Trayvon Walker takes that step. So I'm kind of excited to see, what he's looking like, what his like, pass rush packages, what kind of stuff he's pulling out here, because I think it's going to be, make or break at the end of the season whether or not this defensive line or pass rush can get home. So
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I wonder though, with Trayvon Walker, I feel like when they drafted him, they didn't draft him to be that one trick pony. They drafted him to be a bit of a Swiss Army knife, but a very, very good Swiss Army knife. And so I think the way that they deploy him might hurt the fact that might hurt his stats as far as getting sacks. So I wonder what their game plan is for him this year going in. Are they going to ask him just to put his ear back most of the time? Or are they going to ask him to be that Swiss Army knife where we won't see as many sacks, but he makes impact plays across the board?
I mean, I think
I
he
want to
has
see him to
good
put his ears
sacks.
back.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because if you look at the depth chart, who's behind him? Chason. Are you confident in that? I'm not.
No, no,
I'm not.
no. I think the only people
So
that are confident in him are the coaches, and I wonder at times what kind of dirt does he have on Shad Khan to be able to stay on this team. That's my
yeah, I don't
thoughts on
know.
it.
That's crazy. They really need to make a big push for that. They should have made a big push for somebody, because I understand Trayvon Walker is that Swiss Army knife, but like Josh Allen is dropping into coverage. He's doing it. A lot of these guys, these outside linebackers, in 3-4 defenses, they have to be able to do that. Yeah, they're not going to perform the best. They're not going to be like safeties out there, but neither is Trayvon Walker. I don't think he's going to be a safety type of guy that can drop back into coverage and be like super amazing. I think he's above average at everything except for pass rush right now. Like, he's just not above average at that. Like, yeah, you're a great athlete, but honestly, that doesn't really matter in the NFL. That matters when you're in college, if you're a good
Right.
athlete, because then you're better than everybody, the
Right.
average player. But everybody's an athlete in the NFL,
Right.
So that's just like, I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer or anything, but that's the only part of the team that I'm like, I'm just excited to see that. I don't think that's gonna be a factor into this week's game or anything.
Right. Well, let's keep it on the defense. With the Jaguars going in, they have a rookie quarterback who has some legs on him. What does the defense need to do, in your opinion, Fitz, to kind of limit his effectiveness?
So I think they're, what we're talking about, dropping Trayvon maybe back in coverage. I don't want to say Josh Allen, like, drop it back into coverage a lot, but I think they need to have a spy type of player. Because especially these young quarterbacks who like to run the ball, that's going to be their first instinct when their first or second read isn't open. They're not gonna feel comfortable just taking a sack, play or drive after drive. They're gonna tuck it and run. So I think they just have to be aware of that. But they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna put like a special, a guy that's like specifically for him, unless it's a close game. Then it's like, okay, let's pull out the book and really put someone on him. But I don't think they're gonna be too like worried about him, just as long as everybody kind of does their job. Um, Only if it like starts to get out of hand, where every single third down he's starting to run it, and it's just like, okay, we can't have this anymore. But maybe put a Devin Lloyd on him and see what he can do. And just in terms of keeping his eyes back there behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. I think most rookie quarterbacks that we see in the NFL, especially in their first game, you said, first and second read, he starts running. I mean, most of them, you see the first read, if they don't get
Exactly.
open, they're booking it. And so I kind of imagine that's going to happen this week. His first read. I mean, and you kind of pointed out, they're not very talented at all, whether it's at running back or wide receiver. So if his first guy's not open, his second and third guy probably aren't open either. And he'll probably tuck tail and run, but it'll be interesting to see how effective he is with his legs. I know he can be effective, but like you said, everyone is an athlete at this level. So the guys that he was turning and burning on last year, in college, he's not going to be able to do the same here in the NFL. So I don't know. We see. What about you, Cody? What do you think about our defense going up against them?
I think like first year quarterbacks when they get to the NFL, like you said, they tuck and run or they throw to the tight end. And we've had some difficulties covering tight ends this last season. So
for sure,
that's like one of the only things that would bother me as far as like him getting out of pocket, whatever you can send like corner blitzes and stuff like that. Just somebody that can keep up with him, whatever, at least like keep him behind the lines. So I mean, it doesn't. There doesn't seem to be like a lot of options, as far as their talent goes. So it's like I just don't see it happening for them as much. I mean, they do. The only thing that like the X factor would be like if Anthony Richardson somehow absorbed all of Gardner Minshew's magic.
Right.
And
yeah,
I
like
mean, who knows?
Exactly. I mean, does he really have anything to say about this roster anymore? I mean, he was there. Like, I don't know. He probably knows something, maybe about the defense. He probably has a couple things on Josh Allen.
Maybe.
Like, here's some tips, like, blah, blah, blah type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny that you brought him up. I forgot that I have the roster in front of me and I literally forgot that he was on there. Man, this is going to be like, I forgot about that. Like, how is that reception going to be?
I think if he sees the field, he's going to be it's going to be a blowout, and he'll get from the Jaguars section. I think he'll get an applause, and of course, the home team who's losing the backup quarterbacks is everybody's favorite player, right? So,
yeah, no, but that's funny. You bring up a good point about the tight ends, and the Jags weren't just bad at defending tight ends; they were last in the NFL against tight ends. It was like totally insane. They were giving up like 70 yards to tight ends like a game, which is like a lot.
That is a lot.
Or like so that's something that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on too, for sure. But I think they're going to play zone. I think the defense is going to play zone and like force Anthony Richardson to like force those windows to be open, and he has to sit in the pocket because it's not going to be man. He can just trust this guy to get open and beat somebody. Right. Like, no, like we're going to play zone and we're going to make you do your job. So that's why it's like, I don't think they're going to put any one person on him. I think that like it'll, depending on like what, where on the field Anthony Richardson is, depends on who will have their eyes on him. So,
yeah, that's why I don't have a lot of faith in like, them, the Colts like scoring a lot of points, or because it's like A, B, C, D, and E and F have to go right in order for them to even move the ball 5 yards. Right. So it's like, yeah, and it just like I mean, it's possible, and it's possible like every time they touch the ball. I mean, with Anthony Richardson, in his athletic ability or whatever, as I keep saying on like ESPN and stuff, to just get those yards on his feet or whatever. But eventually they're going to have an answer, and then something else has to go right in their scheme of things or whatever, and it's going to be super difficult, I mean, especially with like. I think Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen are going to take a massive step forward this year, especially with the things that Trayvon Walker had to get used to in his first NFL season, and Josh Allen coming up on a contract year. And I think that, Josh Allen's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and that's going to suck for Anthony Richardson, in my opinion.
Well, we can't downplay the Colts offensive line though either.
Yeah,
they're pretty good. Quentin Nelson, they got some good players on PFF. I think they're ranked like 10th or 11th.
Right. They always have a stud off. They always have a stud offensive line, but the problem is are their wide receivers going to get any sort of separation? Are they going to be able to get open? Those few seconds will be just enough for hopefully Walker and Allen to get around the corner and get to the quarterback. I think the defense will take Richardson. If it ends up him having to run the ball more often than not, I think the Jaguars will take that all day because that'll eat up clock. That'll tire him out. I mean, if they score, they score, but it's probably going to be like a 7-minute drive each time if they end up scoring that way. Because I just don't see their pass catchers being able to be consistent with the quarterback who in college.
Oh my, that got him, dude.
I tried to hold that as long as I could. Sorry,
he's struggling.
It is.
He's dying. You need me to call somebody?
I tried to hold that as long as I could. I've been sick for a while. No, so in college he was super inaccurate. Like if you look at his passing percentage, it was awful. It was horrible. And so that's only going to be, I think, more exasperated in the NFL where you have even more talented defenses every week. So I think it's going to be blowout. And I think our defense, like I said, they'll take him running each and every down.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it'll really just be up to the offense to make sure that they score on every single drive. That's what that's what I'm really excited about the most, to kind of see, what this offense is going to be able to do. But they pretty much, if the defense does their job, then, even if they don't do their job, especially if they don't do their job, the offense has to score on every single drive. They must. So is Shaquille Leonard playing? Or no?
He's out.
Dang.
Concussion protocol.
Like, how do you allow your stud linebacker to be hitting his head? Like, how do you even allow that? Like, in practice, what are you guys doing? Like, it's the week of a game.
Yeah.
Like, come on. That's dumb.
Don't use your head.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
One of my favorite things about like you and your Twitter profile, whatever, is like when I became a huge fan, was when you showed the video of Trevor Lawrence throwing to Calvin Ridley, and you were like, look at his release. Look at when he releases this ball.
Yeah.
And then he led Calvin Ridley like 20 yards to the spot.
It was crazy.
And I haven't seen that as a Jaguars fan since
like Garrard or something.
Yeah.
Just air it out.
Right.
F it. Let me throw this bomb.
Yeah, he's out there somewhere.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, yeah, it's preseason, but at the same time, like, that's awesome that you could see that they have that phase. And I was so glad that I was able to put that video out, man. And then everyone else that I saw put the video out, they're like, oh, look where he lets it go. I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad I said that on Twitter first.
Yeah, you were a pioneer for sure.
I was so happy about that. I was like, yes. Finally, everybody can see it.
And I like finding like the first source of something or whatever. I hate when like things get shifted in the media so much where it's like, it gets filtered out or whatever. It's like, bro, give somebody their flowers. Come on.
Yeah. Like the worst is like when I put out a video, then like somebody literally steals that exact video. Yeah. And then like they don't like give me any recognition. It's just like, dang, man, I work hard for that. But that's why, but what you're saying, I hate, like, I am not like a reporter type of person, but people really lie and they put stuff because they want to be that first person. And it's just like, okay, but you're legit out here, like, just taking a guess, just throwing a dartboard blind, like, hoping that you're going to be right. When it's just like, I don't know. That's why I like videos. Just let me try to put that video out,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite portions of like, I can't remember who does it for the Jaguars, but it's like mostly like offensive line work. And that position is like so like underrated. People don't really see the work that they put in, or have to. So like the Anton Harrison blocking the double move in the preseason was a great one.
And I was trying to put that out too, man. He's doing so good.
Yeah. It's stuff like that. It's like it goes like unnoticed or whatever. It's like there's so much more to the sport than people realize. Like it's not just like the stat lines or the the numbers game or whatever. Like people are out there like doing crazy stuff, and it's happening on this side of the field while the camera is like all the way like towards the end zone. And like you said with the Trevor Lawrence Calvin Ridley throw, like the main thing that they showed was like Trevor's release or whatever, and then they showed Calvin's hands like in the other section. And didn't show it all together in like one frame and how absolutely
Exactly.
insane that was.
Yeah, like literally where Calvin was, like he was not winning that route at all. Like he was way behind. Like the defender was in front of him like for a couple yards.
Yeah.
So the fact that he let it go when like he didn't even win the route yet was just like insane. And he was just like he put it right where he could get it. And he's just like, how do you like even to get it close would have been like impressive, and like he actually got it. Like that was just like I was like, no way, he didn't get it. Like just because we're always in doubt, right? Like
Right.
no, it's like the same old. I don't want my heart to be ripped out, so he didn't get it. Let me just be pessimistic about it. But like he actually got it. That was insane.
One of the last times I felt like that, now that I think about it, was like when Nick Foles was named the starter and he threw that touchdown, their first touchdown,
Mhm.
Yeah,
right,
against the
right,
Chiefs.
yeah, right as he was getting hurt.
Yeah, that's crazy. Everybody like hates on Nick Foles, man, but I don't know. I don't hate
He's
on
a,
him. It's
yeah,
just
he's a
like it
cool,
happened. Like, why do
right?
you hate on a guy that got injured? Like, it's not even his fault. It's not even like, and I get it. Then mid-season, he kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, well, he ended up losing it, but it was already over for him. So it was like, how can you blame him? Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
I liked the energy that he brought. I know when we first signed him and he came to Jacksonville, like I like that he became a part of the community right away, and he tried to really embed himself and do good for the community. And it brought a lot of energy to fans, and not just the fans, but like I said, he was doing a lot of really good things there. It was unfortunate for him to go down, but and him when he did come back, he just didn't perform. But
Yeah,
I'm a fan of him.
yeah, same. And
He's
Doug
playing.
Peterson is too. So, but
Where's he playing at? I forgot. He got picked up by somebody. Thought.
I feel like I heard that. So I'm about to look it up right now. But I
He got
have
picked up
no idea.
by the Mormons, dude, having all them kids.
Really, Arizona? Or I mean, Utah? Wait, what?
What?
No, just fucking.
I was like, there's
What?
no team in Utah. What's happening right now?
No, he just has seven. He has 6 or 7 kids, whatever. So I was just
He
making a Mormon.
does?
I was just making a
He
I
was
Mormon
did
with
joke.
the
not.
Colts. He was with the Colts. I don't. Is he not done with them this year? I guess
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him on
he's
a
not on their
team.
depth chart. Well, dang.
Yeah. Oh man, poor Nicky Foles. Hmm. Well, at least he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Blaine Gabbert has one too.
Oh man.
Yeah, but he didn't actually win the Super Bowl. But yeah, I feel you. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Blaine Gabbert.
Did you know Blaine Gabbert's little brother plays for? He's quarterback for Miami of Ohio.
No, I
What?
didn't know that.
Like the starter?
Yeah, yeah. He played.
Oh
He
wow.
played this past week. What was it? They played Friday. Miami of Ohio played
Played
Miami of
Ohio.
Florida.
So I'm
Oh.
in Miami actually. And apparently they call that the Confusion Bowl because everybody's always confused, like Miami versus Miami. Like what? Like I just heard that for the first time. The Confusion Bowl. I thought it was hilarious.
That's
I
funny.
heard people on the radio say that if Miami of Ohio won, then University of Miami, Florida, should call themselves Miami of Florida.
That's funny. In Miami, Ohio is Miami University. They just throw up the U. Or
Yeah.
the O. Oh.
So where are you from, like originally, Fitz?
Jersey, actually.
Jersey,
New
and then
Jersey.
Jersey to Miami, and how did you
Yeah.
become a Jaguars fan?
My family does not, they hated that actually because they're all Philly, so they're like Eagles fans. Because I grew up in South Jersey, so southern New Jersey, right? And that's like a Philadelphia suburb.
Mhm.
And so like in the '90s, like I was an '80s baby, and so like I kind of grew up, liking the Eagles because obviously the Jags weren't out yet. But
Yeah.
right when the Jags came out, like that's when I was like hitting my teenage years, and I was really starting to like come into my own. And I used to play a lot of Madden, and like I used to always choose the Jags. And I don't know, it was just something about them. Like there was also this story of, like I kind of like I had like a crush on this boy, and he was a huge Dan Marino fan, and then when the Jags murdered them, I was like super happy. So that was like kind of so like after that I kind of like was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be a Jags fan. because F Dan Marino and Jimmy Johnson. And then Jimmy Johnson actually was the head coach of the Cowboys, and then he became a coach of the Dolphins. So like the Cowboys and Eagles were always like rivals. So there was a lot of reasons to like hate the Dolphins. And so when the Jags like murdered them, and then Jimmy Johnson retired and Dan Marino retired, it was just like, yeah, I really like these dudes. And then the defense really started to like be one of the main, contributors. I loved everything about Jimmy. Or Reggie Nelson was like one of my favorite guys.
Mm.
So it was just from a while ago. I don't know. It was just like a bunch of things that came together. And I was like one of the only Jaguars fans like in the whole like tri-state area. So whenever I see a Jags fan in Philly or in New York or in Jersey, I'm always like, dude. And it's just like, we got this little bond.
They do it back.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I was in New York City, I had my Jaguars jersey on, and everybody had Jets jerseys on, and I saw this dude like from like across the street, and I was like, duo, and he was like, yeah. And then the Jets were like, we're gonna beat your ass, and then they killed them. So that was awesome. Last year.
Sweet.
We gotta be kind to the Jets though. If it wasn't for them being idiots and winning a couple games there down at the stretch, we would have Zach Milfson. So
they're the ones that went cover zero, right? Cover zero on fourth down,
right?
And then they got burned deep, and that's why they lost, or they won. Oh no, it was the other team actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Who was it? The Saints? Who was it?
Was it the Eagles?
Who did they play? No. So some team went cover zero on fourth down, and the Jets threw it deep, and they won the game. And for me, I feel like it's that defense that got us Trevor Lawrence. Not like the Jets. They're just like doing their thing. Like, who's going to play cover zero and they're like four wide? And it's just like, why would you even play that defense? Who was it? I'm going to have to look that up now. But yeah.
I was going to try to look it up, but I'm like, I can't remember what year that was. It was what, 2020?
Yeah. I think so. Or
19.
2021.
Man.
I think so.
Yeah, just think more the Jets being Jets, we'd have a Zach Milfson behind center.
Milfson.
The Browns, I think it was the game against the Browns.
Well, okay, so that makes complete sense.
Yeah, that sounds like something the Browns would do.
Jets things.
Yeah, it was 2020. You were right. So yeah, I mean, it was Rams and Browns were back-to-back wins for the Jets. And I think with the Rams they only won by 3 points. With the Browns they won by 7. So I don't know if that was a touchdown that got them the win or if it was a field goal.
Well, they ended up winning what, 3 or 4 games that year? Like
no, just 2. Just those two.
I thought they had one more than that.
Yeah, no. So it might have been the Browns because, like, I think the last game didn't even matter.
Yeah, we could have won or lost.
Exactly. There was a guy I think that got a tattoo or something, or like bought a Lawrence jersey, a Jets jersey. That was like hilarious.
Oh man.
Well, yeah.
Sports fans doing sports fans things.
Exactly.
Gotta love it.
I mean, all right, so that's kind of the. Now they got Aaron Rodgers, so I guess it eventually worked out for him for a little bit. I guess.
Be too bad.
We'll see. We'll see. I still think Aaron Rodgers has it in him, but it's the Jets, so it's like,
right.
Yeah. So that was a little about our defense going up against their offense. What about our offense going up against their defense? As we know, Leonard is probably going to be out. Right now, he's listed as questionable, I believe. Their injuries. Yeah, he's listed as questionable, so not completely out just yet. But I thought he was in.
I thought he was in concussion protocol, so it's
he is, but it's still listed as questionable. He's progressing, so he could still potentially play.
I thought that was like if you're in concussion protocol, it's a week. like for sure. Do they not do that?
Maybe
I
it's
think
different
they
in the
do,
preseason.
but mm,
Um,
Or you have a questionable concussion?
yeah, I mean he's not out yet.
questionable.
That's all I know. He's listed as questionable. So, how do we think our offense is going to be going up against their defense?
I think they're gonna do fantastic. I think they're gonna come out on fire. Honestly, I think Calvin Ridley is like I don't know if he's gonna go deep. I think he's gonna be like that like savior for the offense on like third downs. He's gonna have a ton of first downs in my opinion. But I think they're gonna air it out on some plays, and I think they're gonna be completed. Honestly, I think they're gonna get up really early. To be honest,
I
like
mean, they still
14
have some
nothing.
names out there, right? I mean, they got Quiddy Pay, DeForest Buckner,
Yeah, DeForest Buckner. Yep.
Blackman. So they've got some names out there. They're not deep, especially with all the
Kenny
injuries that they
Moore.
have.
Yeah, no, but their defense is definitely better than their offense. That's for sure.
Right.
So they
So
have a good pass rush.
yes, I think, and so we'll right out the gates. We'll know how good our offensive line is. I don't know. How do you think they're going to perform against that front?
I think Anton Harrison is going to be. I think he's going to do pretty well. I mean, he seemed to do well. He's picking up the switches, like
Mhm.
like you mentioned, Cody, and it's just like I don't know. I think he's going to do really well. Now, who is going to be at the right tackle position? I don't know who's going to be there. Is it going to be Walker Little? Because Anton, is he going to be left tackle?
Mm,
So,
I think it's maybe switched. Left tackle
oh,
is
okay.
Walker, and then right tackle is Anton.
Yeah. So I am a little, I'm not like worried about Walker Little, but it is something where, I'm kind of excited to see, what he's going to be able to do against this defensive line. I think they're a little bit better than what people think, just in general. Brendan Sheriff is, a beast. Luke
yes.
Fortner has been awesome,
Yes.
especially as such a young player. Um, I do wish they ended up getting like a better like guard on the other side of Sheriff. Ben Barch. He's sorry, in my opinion, but I think they're gonna do pretty well. I think they're gonna be able to protect Trevor.
Yeah,
Yes.
I hope I'm not wrong about that, but yeah.
No, I'm really excited to see what happens. I think there will be a learning curve there with Walker Little starting at left tackle. Like you say, I think Anton Harrison's going to hold his own at right tackle. Sheriff, I mean he's a stud. Fortner's a stud. Ben Barch at left guard will be interesting. So I think there will be a bit of a learning curve there. But with Trevor Lawrence, I mean the guy, I mean he's so
I
smart.
think he's gonna get it
Um,
out, right? He's just gonna
right.
get it out early. They're not even
So
gonna have a chance.
he's going to help his offensive line help him. So it'll be a good relationship, and of course, with so many weapons at all of our positions, I mean, you never know. Like even if we do have Travis Etienne in the backfield, the dude still might run out wide, and we might throw to him. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with our offense. At least that's what I'm hoping for, right? With so many weapons, our offensive line is going to be helped out a lot by all that. Will we still see some plays that we're not too happy with where they do let them through? Probably. And I think that's part of that learning curve that we're going to see. But Trevor Lawrence is just too good of a quarterback. Like you said, he's going to get it out when he needs to. Unlike their quarterback, I think he'll get through all of his reads necessary. And as we've seen, he's got some wheels on him as well. So I think our offensive line will progressively get better over the year. And like you said, I think it'll show where our offensive line's a lot better than people are giving it credit for,
I think so too.
because of all the other factors involved. So, which then in turn will help the defense, which I think is our biggest weakness out of the two sides. Playing with leads will make it a little bit easier for them. So,
Exactly. They just have to keep scoring. And I agree with Theo in the comments. They're just too explosive. I think they have too many weapons for them to stop. You think about Evan Ingram, he's him and Trevor are really getting the same page. I don't know if you watched the latest episode of um what is it called on YouTube? Oh my god. the oh my gosh, the
With
the
Lord
the
John
Jaguars.
Osher and-
The hunt.
Yeah, the hunt. Okay,
Yeah.
on the hunt. Yeah, Evan Ingram said this is the first time that he's like really got along and got to know, like, and put in effort to get to know like his quarterback and to have a good relationship with his quarterback, which is just like, damn. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what that says about the Giants, but thank you, Jeff. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Evan Ingram's gonna do, and Brandon Strange, dude. I'm so excited to see Penn State. See, it's kind of excited to see what he's gonna be able to do too.
So I don't know if we mentioned at the beginning of the show for our viewers and our listeners, but Fitz has written a few articles, I guess, for Penn State, and so you have some familiarity with Britton Strange. Can you kind of go in a little bit about what we can expect to see him on game day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that that they give him some more responsibility. To be honest, but I think he's a good pass catcher. Um, he can run after the catch too, but I think his main thing is catching the ball. So Luke is going to be more of that pass blocker. And I think Brendan and Ingram are going to be those two pass catchers that'll be able to kind of get out in space. He's not like a great route runner. He's not going to like make anybody fall or anything like that, but he's a good 50-50 guy. He's good at the catch point. He made a couple like one-handed catches in college. He kind of showed out there. So I think he's going to have a chance to kind of progress slowly, and we'll kind of see where that goes. I don't know what Evan Ingram's contract was, but I don't think it matters when you look at what type of coach Doug Peterson is. He runs the personnel that he has. Sometimes we saw it in the last preseason game. He had 3 tight ends on the field, 3 tight ends in preseason. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? But that's what we're going to be able to see. All 3 of those guys being able to do something. So,
yeah, I think they have Strange listed as the 3rd tight end. But like you said, Farrell's probably going to be that blocking tight end.
Yeah,
although Evan Ingram, all of them I've seen all of them block very effectively. So yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, you were talking about offensive line and if there was going to be any problems there. But I was thinking like, okay, it's like Trevor Lawrence has one of the quickest releases in the NFL. And then they'll just put in like, all these extra tight ends or whatever, blocking tight ends for the run game if we needed it there. So I was like, it doesn't really like, they don't have to be like super great. Because it's like, what do you got to block for like, I think it was like 3-point-something seconds or whatever before Trevor releases the ball. And then with Doug Peterson's offense, we got it's mostly like screens and sweeps and stuff like that, whatever, to like keep them second guessing. So they're always going to be on their back heels as far as that is concerned. So and I never seen like Walker Little. He played like I think it was like 6 games last season, and I don't remember like them saying like, oh, we got like a rookie here at in this area, whatever, and Trevor's getting like pressure from this side, or whatever. It seemed like he was doing his job and doing it effectively for the most part. And then with Anton Harrison, it was like Fitz said earlier, that dude. Sometimes I'm like, that's a rookie.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, for him to like, yeah.
Last year was Little's 2nd year in the league.
Right.
There was that one play where he like landed on Trevor's foot. And we all like took a breath. Like, remember that? He like got his back right onto Trevor, and he like hurt his knee. And we all watched the replay. We were like, "No, it's Walker Little. What the hell?" Yeah, that was crazy. Thank God though, he just came running out the tunnel again.
I was just looking at Strange's biography. His last year in college, he caught the ball 32 times and he scored 5 of those. So his touchdown ratio is pretty good there. So he's going to be a threat in the red zone. Is that what you saw a lot of in Penn State?
Yeah, but he's more of like I think he had a 75% completion percentage. Like, what? That's not even like normal. Most guys are like 60, 65, like 75 is like you're pretty much the quarterback's right-hand man. His hands are just like glue, honestly. I think he had 26 yards per reception in 2022. He led his team in yards per reception as a tight end.
Wow.
Like, yeah. So he's got good hands. He can get deep. He can beat guys deep. He doesn't have like that crazy lateral movement. Like I said, he's not gonna like, shake anyone out of their boots, but he can do that like one cut vertical route, and he can win that 50-50 ball. And like you said, that translates to the red zone. So he's gonna have him and Evan Ingram in the red zone. But I think Brandon Strange is definitely gonna be that 50-50 guy that that Trevor could rely on.
Well, if you look at most like the great tight ends, if you want to say like Kelsey and Rob Gronkowski, like none of them really had wiggles, right? They just caught the ball, right? Exactly. They also had some crazy good yak yards after the catch, but those two guys, if you threw the ball to them, they're most likely going to catch it, especially against us, as we saw last year, which still hurts my heart. I think Kelsey's still catching the ball on us right now, but
it's just like crazy because it's like he didn't do anything all game, and it was just like, okay, the one play you like desperately need something. Oh, guess who's open?
Right, but maybe Strange could be that, right? Like Kelsey again, he doesn't have wiggles. He's not doing anything crazy. He's just getting open, and he's catching the ball when it gets thrown to him. So hopefully Strange can be the next one, along with Evan Ingram, right?
I have this question for you. So when we drafted Britton Strange, Evan Ingram's contract was still like up in the air. Do you think it was because of that we picked him at the second pick of the draft, or not of the draft, but with our second pick? Or do you think it's just because Doug Peterson loves tight ends?
I think it's the latter. I think he just loves tight ends. But there was like a big thing when he got drafted was like, damn, you've reached like, I don't think anybody really thought that Brandon Strange was going to go so high. There must have been just like something about him that they all really loved. But I also think the tight ends were starting to go off the board.
Yeah.
And that was why they were like, okay, what you mentioned, the second part of, Doug Peterson just loving tight ends, and that just had to have been a guy that was on their board. And since the tight ends were kind of going at that time, they're like, all right, we don't want to lose him. Let's just, forget it. If it's a reach, whatever, this is our guy. So,
well, plus I think our roster's at a point where I don't want to call it a luxury pick, but we're not having to, draft guys that need to start today, right? We're filling out the rest of our team outside of maybe, finding someone to replace Trey Herndon one day. But most of our spots are pretty much solidified. We have a solidified starter, maybe even the second stringer. So I wasn't too upset about that pick. And I think maybe it was a bit of a luxury pick, but I don't know. I don't know if I know Doug Peterson liked the two tight ends at Philadelphia, but I think also that's part of just what they had, right? Like this is the team he had, and he needed to field the two tight ends. I think Doug Peterson, I don't necessarily think he's a tight end guy. I think he's a guy who works well with what he's got.
No, I think he's a tight end guy for sure. He was a quarterback. He knows how important tight ends are to his like game, like especially to quarterbacks, where it's just like that's what the defense thinks last about. They're worrying about the number one, the number two wide receiver. They're worried about if the running back can catch, who's going to get him. It's always the tight end that can sneak up the seam, and who has him? It's always a mismatch against the linebackers. So it's like, and Doug's offense is just like centered around that mismatch. And like, that's why I think, I think he is like a tight end guy.
I mean, their wide receiver core wasn't that great. You had Aguilar, Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith, right? So Zach Ertz and
I mean, yeah, Aguilar definitely wasn't like the best.
So I think
and he was like the other dude was on the decline. That the tall guy. Oh my god, I don't remember his name. He was on the Ravens. That's gonna Torrey Smith, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of like on the decline. I mean, I hear you. Like Dallas Goedert was just like awesome, and then they had Brent Selleck, and they're just really good tight ends. Yeah, and Trey Burton.
So I know
I hear
people
you.
like to say he's a tight end guy. I just think, hey, he's a really good coach. And he played to their strength, which was they just had their tight end was greater than their wide receiver overall, I think. So I
But
don't think it was he was in the war room and was like, listen, guys, I love tight ends. We have to get a tight end. I think it was we've got a good team
mm,
and he's a good player. Let's slide him in.
The only reason I
well,
say it is because the packages he runs.
yeah,
Eh,
that's the only reason. And they went out to get Ingram. It's not like they were like, okay, let's roll with Luke Furl. Like let's just go with him and run our packages. I think they need to have that good pass catcher. So yeah, it's a little bit of what you're saying. Sorry, Cody, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad that the Jaguars finally, as an organization, have recognized that the tight end is a very important player on a team. And I think, and I've talked about this in shows past, like if you look at the history of the Jaguars, like we really haven't had that elite pass catching tight end. No offense to Mercedes Lewis. The guy was awesome for the organization for many, many years, and the guy's still playing. But it's just nice to see that the Jaguars finally, not only did we get Evan Ingram, we went out and got him, but we kept him, a guy that is a difference maker at the tight end position. It's just something that the Jaguars have never had. And it's just, I'm so glad that we have that now. And potentially when he's done or moves on to greener pastures, we have Strange lying in wait to take that one spot from him. We'll see.
So you weren't a fan of Kyle Brady then?
No. Since him, okay, I'll say Kyle Brady he's probably the best that we've had. But I mean,
I do love Mercedes, but I hear you. He just,
right, like
yeah.
we just haven't invested. And Kyle Brady, I mean, he was in part of an era that tight ends weren't really, didn't get as much attention as they do now. They weren't as a big part of the game as they are now.
Yeah, they were more like blocking guys because it was more, a running back centered, type
Fullback.
of offense. Yeah, that's when we're
thing.
fullbacks. So yeah, I hear you. For sure, they don't even care about running backs now, as you guys all know.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of running backs, how do you feel about our running back room? They've made a lot of interesting moves. What do you think?
I really like Tank. To be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of JaMychal Hasty, or no, I wasn't a huge fan of like Snoop Connor last year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, like everybody was super excited when they got him, and like I looked at his film and I was like, like he didn't do that great for everybody to be so excited. I think they were more excited about his name than anything.
He probably would have gone undrafted, to be honest.
Maybe, and he just like, I can't even say it's about touches. Like, oh, he didn't get enough touches, so he couldn't show. No, come on.
No.
Like as a running back, you have to see the holes. You have to create your own destiny if you want to be dramatic. But I think Hasty definitely showed out more than Snoop did. So I could see. Is he still on the team?
Bixby, yeah, he's still on the team.
No, Snoop.
No, Snoop.
Yeah,
oh
Snoop's
no,
gone.
Snoop. No, he is.
Yeah.
I think he's at Kroger.
So I'm, he, what was he? He was number 3 last year, right? So now Hasty is 3, which I like that. I like Tank. I'm hoping that he does a little bit better so he can kind of take a little bit more touches from ETN, because if I'm honest, I'm a little scared of, ETN's longevity. The way he finished runs last year was really concerning. Like there were times where I was just like, oh my God, every time he got tackled, it was just like, it looked like he just got hit sticked in Madden. And it was just like, how do you allow that on every single, like you finish every single run like that? Like, come on. Or just like go out of bounds. And it's just like, I don't know. I like it when players want to get that extra yards, but he just doesn't keep turning his legs. He just like, he's like all body, and it's just like, you're not going to win that war, So.
Yeah, I thought the Bixby pick was interesting. I like it. Like, I'm very happy we did it. But, we had picked up Dernis Johnson in the offseason, who is a very good player. When he had a chance to shine with the Browns, he took that opportunity and ran with it, literally and figuratively. But I thought he was a really good pickup for the Jaguars. And so it wasn't eyebrow raising when they picked Bixby, but it made it very interesting running back room. So I'm excited to see what they'll do. Again, it's just another weapon on this explosive offense.
When did they sign Dearness Johnson?
He was before the draft.
He wasn't he?
Yeah, he came. That's why the big speech pick. I wasn't raising my eyebrows because in Doug we trust, but it was just I felt like we had a good running back room, but hey, it's even better now.
No, you don't have to say in Doug we trust, because like you are allowed to be critical. You're allowed to question that stuff. Like that's one thing that I don't agree with a lot of like other Jaguar fans. Like they let shit go too much. Like no, question it. Like wonder why you do this. Like put it on Twitter, man. Like stop. Don't like be okay with everything. Like I guess that's just the Philly in me where they just like hate everything their organization does, and then like So I think that's like where it comes from. My family is always like yelling at the Eagles, and so I guess that's where it comes from. But you're less toxic then, so I'm wrong in this situation.
Well, we've been through so much pain in the Jaguars organization. It's like there's like light, so it's just like whatever, man. Just keep the slide covered, whatever it takes.
You're right. You're right.
But I did question. I did question the first overall.
Yeah,
I really wanted Joey Porter Jr.
and you wanted Aiden Hutchinson last year.
The fact that he was there, like the fact that Joey Porter Jr. was there available this year, and we moved out of the spot twice, and he was still there, and we didn't pick him. I was pretty upset about that pick, but after sleeping on it, it makes sense. I mean, Cam Robinson's gone after this year, and
I don't know if it makes sense. Like Trey Hernan's still in there. Like Darius Williams played really good. I know, back to Trey Herndon. Darius Williams played really good, and it wouldn't be fair to like just. Oh wait, we're talking about safeties. No, we're talking about corners. What am I talking about? Yeah. So let me go back. I don't think it would have been fair to just like kick Darius Williams out of there because I think he did a really good job. I think the Jaguars defensive back room is like one of the top like in the whole league. So I think they did well enough. And Joey Porter, like you have to start him right away. But I mean, it's always good to have like good backups, but you would probably lose Darius if that were to happen. So I get it. But yeah, I was like, grinding my teeth or whatever you want to say. Like when they did not get a corner early on, I was just like, what are they doing? Like screaming, like, it's just like, come on. Like even in that Brandon Strange pick, I was like, there's so many good players out there. Like, and it's just like, you already have 2 tight ends. Like what is going on? But like, in the end, like you said, kind of slipped on it a little bit. But yeah, that whole cornerback situation, I was a little iffy. But you didn't really want Aiden Hutchinson, did you?
Oh, I did 120%. If I could if I could be the GM and go redraft today, I'd still get Aiden Hutchinson. You pick a number 1 overall. You pick a one-trick pony who's the best at what they do. You don't pick a guy who's a Swiss Army knife.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Exactly. But after he went on that podcast though, and he said, and they went like, oh, like what about the Jags? And he's like, oh, like I don't like the Heat. Like, and he said that whole thing, Aiden. Did you guys remember that when he went on that podcast and he's kind of like shaded the Jags, and it was before the draft, and it was like, you could potentially be on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's like, oh, I wouldn't mind going home. I don't like the Heat because he's from Michigan. The Lions, basically, or he's from Detroit, whatever, same twang, different state, whatever. And it was just like once he said that, I was just like, I'm done with him. Like I don't want him at all. After he said that, so that was the only thing with me. Is just like, as like a potentially number 1 overall pick, like how could you say that? That was like
I just got sick of it after a while because like there was so many Jags fans that were like Aiden Hutchinson, and then with this previous draft they were like Brian Branch, and I was like, are y'all secretly Lions fans, dude? Y'all got something to tell me?
Yeah, that's funny.
No, I mean, I would have forgiven Aiden Hutchinson after he got all those sacks. So
that's true. I mean, I hear you, but
And also, for every one clip of that, there's 50 of them. Him saying, "Yeah, I would absolutely love to go to Sunshine State. Taxes, yada yada yada." But
Yeah,
of
but
course, those ugly
that's
ones.
fake. You know? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And nobody remembers the good times. Everybody remembers the bad times.
Yeah.
Come on. Everybody remembers the bad shit you say, not the good shit. So
Yeah. But they also remember the sacks you got, and everything else was forgiven. So,
that's
like
true. That's true.
Trayvon Walker, the sacks that you haven't gotten.
Yeah, which is just
He
like
will
glaring.
Yeah, he will get him, dude.
I hope he does. I hope the dude
Yeah.
is a all pro next year and breaks the sack record. But
He seems like
again,
it.
today I would still draft Aiden Hutchinson over
What
Walker.
did Tony Baselli said between Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, both of them are going to get a combined like 21 sacks this year.
Did he say
Yeah.
they're going to, or they need to? Because I did hear him say something like that.
He said he was like prophesizing it.
He was manifesting that shit.
Yeah. Yes. Saint Tony Baselli over here, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had this will be the year, because again, we talked about it earlier. The offense should be putting the defense in predictable situations, right? If they have the lead, it's a little bit more predictable what the other offense is going to be doing, and so they should be able to pin their ears back and get to the quarterback.
Would it be a hot take to say Yasir Abdullah is going to get more sacks than Trayvon Walker? Because, dude, he's a beast, man.
He is.
Yeah.
You guys can't tell me you weren't excited to see him in preseason. He was killing.
Oh yeah. I was super excited.
So and they're not going to care who is drafted first overall. Whoever has the hot hand, that's who's going to play. So I guess we'll see what happens. I'm not trying to like be super negative, but like
he's like D-line, right? Like he's like one of the middle guys or whatever. Like he's not like going to be on the end dropping back in coverage and stuff, right?
No, he's an edge rusher.
Oh, he's an edge rusher? Okay.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like that's a little bit different than like an outside linebacker, because like you said, like they have to kind of drop back into coverage. Sometimes like that pure edge rusher type of guy that's on certain downs, like certain packages, like the dude that left, he was on the 49ers and he basically he said that he was like the mayor of Jacksonville, the guy that got a bunch of sacks. I can't remember his name. He was
Mayor of Jacksonville was Calais Campbell.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, he is.
You're talking about
the Titans.
Yeah, whatever his name is. He came in on certain packages when Trayvon wasn't on the field, and he performed. Right. So, and he's that pure edge rusher. He's not a guy that you really want dropping back into coverage. So I think that'll be like, what Yasir is. Arden. Thank you, Jeff.
Oh yeah, Arden Key.
Yeah, Yasir's just quick.
Yeah,
and that's a big body dude, and he's fast. Like, that's
so he's going to be hard to stop.
Right. That's the thing. That's like, it seems with today's NFL, with the spread offense, and the different like packages that they throw at defenses nowadays, it's gonna have to be like fast defensive ends instead of like the big body dudes that are breaking tackles or whatever. It's gonna have to be people that are beating offensive linemen off the edge. So yeah, I can see Yasir Abdullah getting some numbers.
Yeah, I'm a big Florida State fan, and he tore us apart every year. I was glad to see him go to the NFL draft, but I was even happier when he landed with the Jags. This is what he did last year with Louisville. He led the team with 14.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 being sacks, and tied third nationally with 4 forced fumbles. He also had, on top of that, 63 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 4 pass breakups.
Tackles as an edge rusher.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so I'm glad he's on our side. We'll see where he's on the depth chart.
I'm telling you, if he starts, just racking in them sacks, you're gonna have to replay this episode and say, "Yo, Trixie was right."
And we will take the credit.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. I'll retweet it.
Oh man.
All right, so I think we've talked a lot. We usually like to go 30 to 45 minutes, but with this first game coming up, we're pretty excited and had a lot to talk about. What are your predictions for this game? Let's get a win-loss, score, any bold predictions as far as sacks, touchdowns, whatnot.
So I think they're gonna win like 28-9, and I say 9 because they're gonna get 3 field goals. Um, uh, I'm hoping that they get like at least 3 sacks. I think that would be good. And I would like to see an interception. Maybe from Tyson. I want him to come out on fire,
Right.
Tyson Campbell. I would love that.
Right.
If they don't get any sacks, I would like to see some turnovers from the DBs. And I'm definitely going to be watching Andre Cisco. I'm going to see how many packages he's going to be in terms of 2 safeties, or they're going to have more nickel packages. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But 28-9, and I could see Jeff. I could see them scoring 34 for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Who do you think is going to be the standout player outside of Trevor Lawrence on the offensive side of the ball?
What's funny? The offense, there was no one player week in, week out that was
Right.
like killing it, right? It was like a rotating thing. I'm thinking maybe Zay Jones, which is kind of crazy because I feel like he's definitely going to get a lot less touches, like with Calvin Ridley. Same with Christian Kirk. But maybe this is his game. It's just I run on feeling, right? Nothing on what anybody has said. No coaches, anything like that. This isn't like, oh, he said this, so
Right.
this means that Zay's going to play. I don't know. It's just intuition thing. Maybe Zay is going to be that one.
Yeah. Zay's the forgotten receiver, but a lot of people said in camp, if you had no idea who was who on the depth chart, a lot of people said Zay Jones looked like he could have been the number 1 wide receiver for the Jaguars.
Wasn't it Tony? Wasn't Tony that said that specifically?
It was Tony, and there was a couple other guys there that had the same mentality with that. So I'll take it, man. What do you think? What do you think, Cody, on the offensive side? Some bold predictions and whatnot?
Evan Ingram. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly because like he signed the contract. He's happy to be here. I seen him be the first one outside at practice, like just to be out there near the fans and stuff like that. He's super happy to be a part of this team and in this community. And I think he gets a lot of targets against this defense, and I think he shows up and shows out for sure. Like just to be like, oh man, he's out here earning the money too. Like he's not just a name and a face, Like,
right.
I mean, and be a bigger like weapon than he was last year. It's just because that there's that connection there between Trevor Lawrence and him already or whatever, and I think it's deepened over the offseason.
Yeah.
So with that, my score prediction would be Colts 0 and then Jags 50.
Jags literally by 50. I like it.
50 burger.
Randy Fox says 31-10 Jags with Ridley being the standout player. I'm gonna have to go with Randy. I think Ridley is chomping at the bits to get onto the field and show the NFL, hey man, I was out for a year, I was resting, just getting better, and I'm only better than I was before. And I think he wants to show the world that. I think Dougie P is not going to force the ball to him, right? But I don't think he's going to need to. I think he's going to get himself open, and he's going to get the ball, and he's going to make things happen. And I think he's going to be a major standout player. I still think the other players are going to shine because of that. I mean, if he's taking the attention, then you got Kirk, who can easily catch the ball, go the distance. You got Jones, you got Ingram, Etienne. But I think outside of Trevor Lawrence, Ridley is going to be a huge standout player. I think our defense is just like the offense. I think they're chomping at the bits to prove that the Jaguars aren't just an offensive juggernaut, that the defense can hold their own too, especially against a rookie quarterback. And I think they're ready to do that. And I think their quarterback is just going to have a really, really bad day because he's a rookie quarterback. I just don't think he's very good. And they don't have any wide receivers, as we talked about earlier. So I think we sack him a lot. They score 6 points, but we score 42 to 6. And I think that's even them like not even like trying to run up the score. I think that's just them playing their game. 42-6. And I think Gardner Minshew sees it too.
Oh, really? That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Then you
I
got to
think they'll
see a
t- I-
Gardner Minshew sack then.
I think they'll take Richardson out near the end because it is a blowout and just put Minshew in, and he gets them those 6 points.
Who's getting the sack? I just want you to say it. Who's the one doing the sacking? I thought you were going to say Trayvon.
No, I think we'll get 3 or 4 sacks, to be honest. And I don't necessarily mean that like it might part some of them are going to come from him just running outside the pocket and try to scramble and get some yards, and they just get him behind the line. But I think we're going to get 3 or 4 sacks. Not just any one player though; it'll be across the board. So, any other thoughts, Cody, about anything, man?
No, man, I'm good. Yeah, man, it's super awesome talking to you, Fitzy. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to continue to be a huge fan. I implore everybody that is watching this either now or later on Spotify or something like that, wherever you get podcasts, to follow her on Twitter, because it is some of the best insight after the game that you'll ever find. So, yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Love it.
Before we get Laurie's final thoughts, mine is just it's game week, y'all. Like, we have a game. Like, the Jaguars are game planning for a game this week. How exciting is that, man? I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, man. I'm so excited to see the Jaguars. Man, I am just so stoked. So that's my final thoughts. Laurie, take it away. You say what kind of things you got going on, what you
honestly
writing, where.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely excited. Football is finally back. It's taken a while. I can't stand preseason. Like, I like preseason and all because it's like a build up, but at the same time, I'm just excited for the season to start. You guys can find me on YouTube at Laurie Fitzpatrick. The link is right down there. On Twitter is where my main stuff is. I always retweet anything that I'm writing out. I use an awesome illustration called Clip Draw, where I draw the arrows so everybody's able to kind of follow along to see, what exactly I'm breaking down. I'm not just using my voice. I'm using these arrows, these spotlights, really trying to let everybody know, what I see and what we should be looking at. So you guys can catch me on Twitter and the read optional. So you guys can catch me on there too.
Sweet.
Well, we appreciate it, Fitz. We really enjoy bringing people on. I think this has probably been one of my favorite. A lot of those guys that we bring on, like from Jaguar State, man, they're great. Like, I appreciate them taking time out, but it's nice to have someone like you. It's a little bit honest, right? Kind of like how you said, it's not just in Doug we trust, right? It's question it, man.
Yeah, question everything.
That's real talk. I like that. And I think everyone listening will appreciate that. But guys, we appreciate you joining us. Again, this has been the Jaguars Fan Battle Podcast, a member of the Fan Battle Network. You can find our content and other content from the other AFC South teams at fanbattlesports.com. There you can find some articles. You can find their shows as well. But, of course, the best was with the Jaguars Fan Battle. And we will see you guys next week at hopefully a Victory Tuesday.